Today is Sunday, August 2nd. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on There's a Solution. We'll be reading page 22. Out of the 12 and 12, we are on step 4. We'll read page 44. There's a lot of 4s there. And the NA just for today and Al-Anon's Courage to Change. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this beautiful Sunday morning. Life is good over here. I'm on my second cup of coffee already, so maybe you can already hear it in my voice. I'm fired up this morning. Just what a blessing it is to be sober another day, to wake up and just have the opportunity to work the program. I love that. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's very chippery reading about the alcoholic. No, I mean, we talked about how this alcoholic, their life gets unmanageable in There's a Solution. But it's not a comprehensive picture, as it's going to say here. But as I've always been told to look for the similarities, I can definitely see myself in the picture that was painted yesterday of the real alcoholic. So we're going to continue on page 22. This is out of the Big Book, There is a Solution. This is by no means a comprehensive picture of the true alcoholic, as our behavior patterns vary. But this description should identify him roughly. Why does he behave like this? If hundreds of experiences have shown him that one drink means another debacle with all of its attendant suffering and humiliation, why is it that he takes that one drink? Why can't he stay on the water wagon? What has become of the common sense and willpower that he still sometimes displays with respect to other matters? Perhaps there never will be a full answer to these questions. Opinions vary considerably as to why the alcoholic reacts differently from normal people. We are not sure why. Once a certain point is reached, little can be done for him. We cannot answer this riddle. We know that while the alcoholic keeps away from the drink, as he may do for months or years, he reacts much like other men. We are equally positive that once he takes any alcohol, whatever, into his system, something happens, both in the bodily and mental sense, which makes it virtually impossible for him to stop. The experience of any alcoholic will abundantly confirm this. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And for the last couple of days, we've been talking about the instincts, how responsibly utilized they can be good, perhaps God-given. But when the instincts go to the extreme, and we got a few demonstrations yesterday, whether it's the sex instinct, whether it is the financial instinct for security. We talked about the frightened human being determined to depend completely upon strangers for guidance and protection, or the power-mad person. All of these things can lead to disturbing our serenity, let me put it that way. And it says on page 44, whenever a human being becomes a battleground for the instincts, there can be no peace. So we're going to expand on that on page 44, the rest of page 44. But that is not all the danger. Every time a person imposes his instincts unreasonably upon others, unhappiness follows. If the pursuit of wealth tramples upon people who have happened to be in the way, then anger, jealousy, and revenge are likely to be aroused. If sex runs riot, there's a similar uproar. Demands made upon other people for too much attention, protection, and love can only invite domination or revulsion in the protectors themselves. Two emotions quite as unhealthy as the demands which evoke them. When an individual's desire for prestige becomes uncontrollable, whether in the sewing circle or at the international conference table, other people suffer and often revolt. This collision of instincts can produce anything from a cold snub to a blazing revolution. In these ways, we are set in conflict not only with ourselves, but with other people who have instincts too. Alcoholics especially should be able to see that instinct run wild in themselves is the underlying cause of their destructive drinking. We have drunk to drown feelings of fear, frustration, and depression. We have drunk to escape the guilt of passions, and then have drunk again to make more passions possible. We have drunk for vainglory, that we might the more enjoy foolish dreams of pomp and power. This perverse soul sickness is not pleasant to look upon. Instincts on rampage balk at investigation. The minute we make a serious attempt to probe them, we are liable to suffer severe reactions. NA just for today, August 2nd. Practicing honesty. When we feel trapped or pressured, it takes great spiritual and emotional strength to be honest. Basic text, page 85. Many of us try to wiggle out of a difficult spot by being dishonest, only to have to humble ourselves later and tell the truth. Some of us twist our stories as a matter of course, even when we could just as easily tell the plain truth. Every time we try to avoid being honest, it backfires on us. Honesty may be uncomfortable, but the trouble we have to endure when we are dishonest is usually far worse than the discomfort of telling the truth. Honesty is one of the fundamental principles of recovery. We apply this principle right from the beginning of our recovery, when we finally admit our powerlessness and unmanageability. We continue to apply the principle of honesty each time that we are faced with the option of either living in fantasy or living life on its own terms. Learning to be honest isn't always easy, especially after the covering up and deception so many of us have practiced in our addiction. Our voices may shake as we test our newfound honesty, but before long, the sound of the truth coming from our own mouths settles any doubts. Honesty feels good. It's easier living the truth than living a lie. Just for today, I will honestly embrace life with all of its pressures and demands. I will practice honesty, even when it is awkward to do so. Honesty will help, not hurt, my efforts to live clean and recover. Courage to change, August 2nd. My overwhelming desire for control becomes glaringly obvious when I'm tempted to control my group. I decide that I know what is best for all of us, or that I am the only one who truly understands the traditions, or that I know what newcomers need to hear and I alone must make sure that they hear it. I may view this as a finely developed sense of responsibility, but my attitudes and actions still amount to a form of dominance. The second tradition says, for our group purpose, there is but one authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. We strive to conduct our meetings as a fellowship of equals and to practice rotation of leadership. No single member has the right to take charge. When I insist upon having my own way, I'm tampering with the spiritual nature of Al-Anon as a whole. Just as my higher power guides me in my daily life, a power greater than myself is working within my group through the voices of its members. Today's reminder: I am only one voice in a thriving worldwide fellowship. When in doubt, I will defer to the wisdom of the group conscience. Quote from Alcoholism, the Family Disease: any attempt to manage or direct is likely to have a disastrous consequence for group harmony. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and some great stuff as always. My goodness, talking about honesty in the NA reading today. Man, I never really understood you're as sick as your secrets until I lived it. Where I would tell people in the program 90% of the truth, but guess what I would think about at night or when I wake up in the morning? that 10% that I didn't share. Or maybe I told part of what other people did to me, but I left out my part in the situation. I've been there. And truly, I agree with what it says here. Honesty is one of the fundamental principles of recovery. And that old acronym, you know me, I love acronyms because I'm a little slow and that helps me remember. Honesty, how do we get sober? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. HOW, honesty, the first word there. We apply this principle right from the beginning of our recovery when we finally admit our powerlessness and unmanageability. Now, I think it's in the 12 and 12 where they talk about that step 1 is the only step that we should try our best to get absolutely right. And the rest of the steps are perfect ideals that we can strive towards. Right here, learning to be honest isn't always easy, especially after the covering up and deception so many of us practice in our addiction. Oh, you betcha, I had a lot of secrets. Our voices may shake as we test our newfound honesty. But before long, and I love this, the more we practice being honest, it says here, the sound of the truth coming from our own mouths settles any doubts. Honesty feels good. It's easier living the truth than living a lie. Okay, I'll tell a quick story. I remember, I'm pretty sure it was 4th grade. I was not the greatest academic student, and I was very dishonest. And I thought I was a lot more clever than I actually was. Which, actually, come to think of it, is the same thing with my alcoholism, right? I thought that I was tricking a lot of people when I really wasn't. But I remember I would not do my homework. And we had these things called blue notes. And that was just to tell our parents, hey, your child has had a missing assignment that they were supposed to do for homework and they never turned in. Well, what I did is I took that blue note home. Oh, and by the way, my parent was supposed to sign that. So I took that blue note home and I would look at my stepdad's signature and I'd get a pencil of all things. And I look at that signature and I try to forge that signature. And of course, I couldn't get his signature just right. My handwriting was awful at the time. So you got all these eraser marks and smudges and everything on the signature page, right? And it's so obvious now, right, that I was forging his signature. Well, I turned it in, and this is toward the end of the school year, and we had this event called the Student Appreciation Day in New Jersey, and they had bounce houses, music going, snow cones. It was like after all the tests at the end of the year, we got the party, and it was like the most fun and exciting time of the year. Well, sure enough, I'll never forget my teacher. I won't say her name for anonymity's sake. Her husband also worked there. He was the PE teacher. She shows in the blue note, and I'm just sitting there kind of observing this from a distance, trying to not look obvious. And I remember, I'll never forget, the PE teacher, her husband just laughs and looks at me and shakes his head and just laughs some more. And I just hung my head because I knew. So sure enough, I missed out on Student Appreciation Day. I had to go to the office. My teacher called my stepdad at work, told him what was happening. And you can believe what happened after that. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't do the assignment that was so much what got me in trouble. It was the fact that I lied about it and I tried to be deceitful. And my parents were old school. If I got in trouble at school, I was going to get in twice the trouble at home. And I did. And my folks knew how to hit me where it hurt. They knew I loved video games. I loved being outside and playing hockey and all this stuff. And there goes the systems. There goes the TV. And I had to stay in my room for quite some time and just pining to be outside. And it was rough, but I learned a valuable lesson there. And I have to remind myself of this, that, hey, in my adulthood, just be honest with the right people too. So you can get this junk off of your chest. And the more I do it, the more I reveal of myself to the right people that I trust, that have my best interests in mind, that are going to keep things confidential. The more I do it, truly, just like the reading says, the easier it becomes. And the more that I'm truly known. Not as somebody that's wearing a mask, but as somebody who's trying to be a better human being. So, I love it. Great stuff. But my friends, that's all we have time for today. Please know, as always, I don't speak on behalf of NA, AA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I am just a joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery, honored to be here another day. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.